Hey y'all, it's Brody, and today I'm here to do the mid-year book freakout tag. Yes, that's correct. Question number 1, the best book you read in 2020. For graphic novels, my favorite one I've read this year so far is Taproot by Kizzy Young. This is a really cute, soft story about a ghost and a gardener who are in love. There's some spooky things happening where the ghosts are starting to disappear, so they have to team up and figure out what's going on. These really pretty blues and blacks and browns and creams and whites. It's just a gorgeously done book, and I think you should read it. Poetry, my favorite poetry collection I've read this year is Boy in Jeopardy by Ryan Douglas. This is a collection of poetry that Ryan put out there, talking about his just experience in life. It's on Kindle Unlimited. It made me cry 3 times. It's so good. I encourage you guys all to go read it. It's fantastic. In the vein of middle grade, I have Cattywampus by Ash von Otterloo. This book comes out August 4th, 2020, so make sure you go pick it up. It is a middle grade novel following 2 witches named Delphi and Katie Bird, who are from rival witch families. And after an incident in a graveyard, they accidentally summon all of their dead ancestors, and there's just like an all-out dead zombie witch war on the town. It's cute. It's diverse. There's Katie Bird is intersex, and I encourage you all to go pick it up. Ash did send me a copy of this for review, so thank you, Ash. I have that review coming. I promise. Young adult, I have Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. This is one of my most recent reads, and I will probably talk about it more in this video because it's the most fresh. It's the freshest book in my head right now. This is a YA novel following a trans boy named Felix who is living in New York City, trying to finish out his senior year, trying to get a scholarship at Brown. So someone does something really shitty. They put up a gallery of photos of Felix pre-transition, and dead name him. So he's trying to figure out what's going on, deal with all of the hate that he's getting, and from macroaggressions to microaggressions of transphobia. And there's also like a quasi-love triangle that involves catfishing. It's very complicated, but I really enjoyed it. My favorite adult book I've read this year is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyen Khan Braithwaite. This follows 2 sisters. The protagonist works at a hospital, and her sister has a lot of boyfriends that keep ending up dead. She wants to protect her sister and help her, obviously. She helps with the cleanup, but then the sister falls in love with the man that the protagonist is in love with and is like a co-worker of hers. It's very, very interesting. It's very, very quiet. This is a quiet thriller. And the chapters are told in like the very short like vignette formats. I really enjoyed it. It's slow, but in like the best way possible. That was 6.5 minutes for one question. Question number 2, best sequel you've read this year. I don't read a lot of sequels. We know I'm terrible at continuing in the series, but I do have Storm of Locusts by Rebecca Roanhorse. It follows a monster hunter named Maggie who is trying to deal with a lot of like grief as well as like killing the bad guys. It's very like supernatural meets Mad Max Fury Road, but indigenous, and the sequel was just as good as the first book. It definitely held up. Question number 3, a new release that you haven't read yet but want to, and for that I have Elysium Girls by Kate Pentecost. Set in Oklahoma, it's, I think, an urban fantasy western novel. I know it has own world mythology. The author is non-binary. It's a western. It's got a girl on a horse. A robot horse. Question number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. That is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I can't believe I don't have a fucking arc of this yet. I've been trying to get one everywhere, and I can't get a fucking arc of Cemetery Boys. It's got trans witches, it has ghosts, it's very soft, it's very emotional. I'm very excited to read it. Aiden is my father. I feel like this is BookTube's like most anticipated book of the year, or at least Book Twitter's. Book Twitter, we've been waiting on this one, and it got pushed because of COVID, got pushed back to September, which is my birthday month, and it's on my Amazon wish list, so like, if one of y'all want to like drop me a bone, I would appreciate it. 5, biggest disappointment, that is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Everyone was talking about this book, and it won a Goodreads Choice Award, and I thought it was fucking terrible. The end. Question number 6 is biggest surprise, and that is The Light at the End of the World by London Shaw. Y'all, when I say this book took me on a whole ass journey, I am not kidding. It follows 16-year-old Layla McQueen, who is an underwater submersible racer, and she wants to win this race so that she can basically figure out what happened to her father. Her father's been missing for years. She's trying to track him down. She thinks he's been arrested. Plot twist, that's not what happened. Well, it kind of is, but not really. Not in the way that she thinks that he was. It's very complicated. It's very hard to explain, but basically this book takes place in the future after the planet has flooded and everyone lives underwater now. And she's like a submersible racer. So think like Waterworld meets Fast and Furious with a Muslim protagonist. I knew I was gonna like this book. I did not expect to love this book. Easy 5 stars. Easy 5 stars. Number 7 is your favorite new author. This can be a debut author or a new to you author. For me, I'm going with a new to you author, and that is Hannah Capin. I read Foul is Fair this year. And I'm still like reeling from it. This book is about a girl who takes revenge on her rapist. And not just her rapist, everyone who was involved. The people who drugged her drink, the people who actually raped her, the people who stood by and watched, like everyone. She's gonna get revenge on everyone. And murder ensues. Anyway, Foul is Fair, like, cemented Hannah as one of my top authors, just because if you can write like this, then you're up there. Like, you're up there. Number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't get crushes on book characters anymore. Question number 9 is your newest favorite character, and for me, that's going to be all of the characters in The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I mean, I think that Celine is one of the best young adult protagonists I've ever read. It felt kind of like a subversion of all of the early 2000s young adult protagonists. Like, Celine is the A+, and Bella Swan is like the F, if that makes sense. I thought that she was going to be a very passive character in the book, and things were just going to happen to her, and it was going to be... The reason I'm making Twilight comparisons is because this is vampires as well. I thought that she would be a very passive character, but no, Selena's like, we're gonna get shit done, and I loved it. I love an active character. And I feel like the kind of books I read usually have more passive protagonists, so it was nice and refreshing to have a book that was very beautiful, very slow, while still, and very quiet. It was very quiet, while still being an active character existing in the slow world, if that makes sense. Next question, a book that made you cry. I am a big book crier. A big book crier. But I think I'm going to have to go with the book that made me cry the most times in the least amount of pages, and that's Boy in Jeopardy by Ryan Douglas. This is the poetry collection I mentioned earlier. I cannot encourage y'all to go read this enough. Like I said, it made me cry like 3 or 4 times, and it's a pretty short collection. So the number of pages to the times I cried ratio is very high, so I would say go check that out. Number 11, a book that made you happy. That's the first book I read this year, and that is Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. We have 2 Rebecca Roanhorses on this list. Killing the game. Give me that arc of Black Sun, please. This book was sent to me by my friend Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book. Thank you, Jocelyn. I appreciate you so, so much. I made the decision last year that every month I would be reading 1 book at minimum by an Indigenous author, and that the first book that I read every year is going to be by an Indigenous author. So I was very excited to get this in the mail around Christmas time and then read it for 2020. Y'all, this is so fucking good. Najani Begay is our protagonist. She is a Navajo Native American who can see monsters. That's her magical power, and no one believes her because they think she's just being like a funny little kid. So after her father is abducted by this monster who's pretending to be her father's boss, she, her brother, and their best friend, who are all Indigenous characters, we have a full cast of Indigenous characters, I fucking loved it, they all decide that they're going to go try and save him. This book has a full cast of Indigenous characters, tons of Navajo lore, a talking stuffed animal guide, and it just made me so happy to know that this is going to be a book that little Indigenous kids are going to be able to read. And I think that really means a lot to me. Question number 12. The most beautiful book that you bought or received so far this year. I can't remember if I got this at the end of last year or the beginning of this year. I honestly cannot remember. But that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is the UK edition, and my friend Molly from the channel Molly's Reading, she finally made a booktube, y'all. I will link it down below. Go check her out. Go subscribe to her. She got this for me as a present, and y'all, the UK just, when they get it right on covers, they get it right. Still, I'm not totally sure what this is about, but I know it's about a boy named Laszlo. That's Strange the Dreamer. What am I talking? I haven't read Strange the Dreamer either, but the covers look pretty similar. This is a book about a boy named Zachary who is a college student who uncovers this secret underground world of libraries. And I don't know anything else about it. I know that he's gay and there's apparently a male romance and queer side characters. I'm super excited to get into this. The Night Circus is one of my favorite books of all time, and I'm curious to see if The Star of the Sea is going to top it. Okay, and question number 12 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I have a lot. I want to try and finish my TBR by the end of the year, my physical TBR. But I picked 3 books that are 5-star predictions for me. That is The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lo by FCE. This, I have been told... Okay, so I put out a tweet. Y'all know I do this a lot. I put out tweets saying, recommend me a book with this. And I put all of my favorite anime tropes, and The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lo got recommended twice. So I mostly hear this book described as like anime in book form, and with it being compared to all of my favorite animes, I'm super excited to read it. Since they put Cardcaptor Sakura back on Netflix, I've been watching a lot of anime. I'm about to start watching the new Pokemon anime that's on Netflix. I watched like all the seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! They have on there. I need to see if I can find Metabots and Fighting Foodon. I'm rambling, I'm sorry. Anyway, yes, The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lo. I'm excited to read. I think it's going to be a 5-star. It's A Lot Sway by Darcy Little Badger. This is an indigenous young adult novel coming out in 2020. It is speculative fiction. That's mostly what Darcy writes, is speculative. Well, there's a girl named Ellie who can see and talk to and resurrect ghosts, who is trying to solve the mystery of her cousin's murder. Her cousin comes to her in a dream and says, hey, this is the dude that murdered me. Help me out. And then Ellie has to help him out. Everyone in this book is magical in some way. This world, everyone has powers. All of the creatures from all the different lores exist. And I loved it. There's vampires. There's Native American vampires. I'm not quite halfway through. I'm like a third of the way through. I will be posting a full review video of this when it comes out. Once again, Darcy sent me this copy in exchange for a review. So thank you, Darcy. Also, Darcy helped us run sprints for the Indigathon last year and has been very supportive of my channel. So I just want to say thank you, Darcy. Just for a second, I want to say thank you. And I encourage you all to pick this up whenever it comes out in August. Like I said, I'm a third of the way through, and it's already a 5-star. The last book is one that I've been wanting to read for years. That is 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstedt. This is a translated work, which I have never read before. And I don't know what it is about this book, but it's one of those that I saw. This was popular when I was just a watcher of BookTube. Like, back when I first started watching BookTube, people were talking about this book a lot. And it's one that I've always had in the back of my head that I want to read. And finally, I found a copy with the cover that I wanted. Because I don't like the paperback cover. I'm sorry, I don't. I wanted the hardcover. It's fucking creepy and gorgeous. And I finally found a copy of the hardcover. And I got it. And it's in my hands now. And I'm very excited to read it. I think there's just something about being a BookTube like an old BookTube watcher. I think I started watching it in like 2011, I think, 2012. And while this book isn't as hyped anymore as it was, it's one that I've always carried with me and I've always wanted to read. So I'm excited to finally have it in my hands and read it. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, share, tell all your friends, believe in life after love, all of that shit. Comment question of the day. I want to know your biggest surprise of the year so far. Let me know a book that, you know, you were very surprised by, you were shocked at how much you enjoyed. I love that feeling of like thinking a book's just gonna be okay and then reading it and fucking loving it. So let me know what your biggest surprise of the year is. If you don't have time to answer the comment question of the day, you don't have the spoons, or you just don't fucking want to, leave me an emoji, preferably a yellow heart, because those are my favorite, so I know you made it all the way until the end. Everything that I mentioned will be in the downstairs description. Go check that out. Alright, I hope you have a wonderful, whatever it is, wherever you are. I will see you next time with another video. Thank you for watching. Okay, cool. Bye. Mwah.